think a lot of girls are kind of afraid to do what they really want to do.
Actually, it kind of makes me want to cry because, like when I was growing up, I really didn't have the same things that they have now.
I wanted to get into medicine probably since I was maybe in first grade.
I wanted to go on interviews. I didn't have the appropriate attire.
It is critically important for women at my stage of my career to have access to foundation grants like the Charolette R. Schmidlapp Award.
When this fund was created, it was a very different kind of thinking. Jacob G. Schmidlapp was a man ahead of his time. He was very forward-thinking, not only in the creation of this fund, but of his own personal foundation.
Jacob Schmidlapp was a man of vision. When he established the Charolette Schmidlapp Fund in 1908, he was certain that times would change. And as times change, so do the needs of women.
By creating this fund, he wanted to help women and girls become educated so that they might someday be able to improve their situations. Now, this is amazing, not only because it's incredibly generous, but because this was created in a day where women didn't have rights and weren't seen as an asset in society. But he was such a forward thinker that he could see that women not only were in need of this service, but that they were going to be an important part of the social fabric that America exists upon.
But I don't know if he fully understood the impact that this fund would have, if he thought of it as being around for another 100 years. But I know that he wanted to do good in the world, and he believed that he could accomplish it through the creation of this fund.
The fund was created initially to ennoble, empower, and uplift young girls. But what I think is remarkable is that it's touched so many lives and so many generations that this fund has in fact stretched across countries around the world.
In the mid-1980s, there were several studies pointing out the fact that there were very few women in college studying math and science. And reports were issued saying this is something we should correct, not only for the benefit of the women themselves and the contributions they would make in these areas, but also for the good of the economy in our country.
The Gift to Children's Hospital here in Cincinnati to help promote and advance women pediatricians in their profession.
So one of the goals of the Charolette R. Schmidlapp Award that's given at Children's Hospital is to help women in their careers as they're moving from an associate professor level to a full professor level. And in my case, that's been very helpful, and I'm planning on going up for a full professor soon, and in part that's been facilitated by the award.
Grants also were made to high schools, public and private, for young women to begin to be interested in math and science, because there was certainly a dearth of young women at that age thinking about going into these areas.
One of the recent gifts that we did to Macaulay High School will help support a Women in Pre-Med program.
Through this program, I'm really excited about getting a head start and really learning what the medical field is all about, and hearing from actual doctors and nurses about their job, and getting hands-on experience before I even start medical school.
They're actually starting two new programs starting in 2 years, Women in Engineering and Women in Law, which is kind of the same basic thing, and it's going to be offered to the incoming freshmen. It's going to be a 4-year program that also exposes them to the different kind of that job.
The fund also supports organizations that help women who haven't always had it easy. And that's something that I think that everyone should be really proud of. They fund organizations like Dress for Success, which helps women to come in and get a new suit so that they have enough self-confidence and self-esteem to embark on a career and enter the job market.
So I was introduced to Dress for Success, and I went there, and they helped me with a resume. They provided me with 2 outfits that was appropriate for an interview, and they talked with me and prepared me on how I should sit, talk, and address people on the interview.
That was something that they said, dress for the job you want, not the job you have. So that was kind of my highlight point right there.
I want to just be there for other women, as other women have been there for me, as a guide, to maybe open some doors where they feel no door went open for them.
Even if you only give an hour a month, that's something, that hour a month will be a more impact on a person than it would be if you just spent 20 hours a month doing a whole bunch of nothing.
We have no idea what the future will bring, or what the needs of the women in the future will be.
When we look at the impact of the fund, we know that in the last 6 years of the fund has gifted over $11 million, which translates into thousands of girls being impacted, whether it's a scholarship program, a young girls program at a YWCA somewhere across the country. We know that number's in the thousands.
It makes me feel good in my heart that I'm actually doing something for the better good of somebody else and not just for people just per se my own age. I'm making a positive influence on somebody that is, more or less half my age.
I would say having women in medicine and women in a lot of other areas kind of shows the great progress that women have gone through from like the 1950s on, and how much it's changed and how much more women are involved in the workforce.
One of my goals is to pass on that information to other young women who didn't have the opportunity to have as good mentorship as I had in these areas.
I think a program like this will really help because it gives us a head start in achieving our dreams.
My legacy is just to help other women be okay. No matter with what you have, you can learn to be okay with what you have. And if you want to take it further, you can get more. I know you can get more. I'm living proof.
I think the fund has already created its legacy. It's just really continuing its legacy for the next 100 years. But I think we also need to stay true to the dream that Jacob G. Schmidlapp had, and that was to empower and advance women and help them to become self-sufficient.
He felt such a deep love and a sense of respect for his daughter, and it was out of that love and respect that he wanted to create something bigger than himself and bigger than just one life. And in doing so, he's influenced generations of women to give back and to think about their own legacies and to become ennobled and empowered and uplifted because of the generosity that they've been shown.
Charlotte's gift to women will be uplifting, ennobling, and empowering women in the future.